What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/ProRevenge. Alright, this story's called Don't Stick to Our Agreement, You Shouldn't Have Been Stepping Out. Okay, so I tried to post this on r/PettyRevenge, but it immediately and inexplicably got deleted. I guess it was a bit too much to be petty, so I'm posting it here instead. Here we go, strap in for a long one, kids. This is a story from long ago in a galaxy far away. And by that, I mean it happened 3 years ago at a pizza place I used to work. I was a delivery driver for 6 years at various pizza places, picking up and moving on to greener pastures whenever it suited me. Granted, that only happened a couple of times because I am unfortunately a very loyal employee. To be honest, I should have done that before this whole thing ever even happened. The store I was at was part of a nationwide franchise, and the waters had gotten choppy. All of the managers quit at once, and they just couldn't seem to get one to stick around. It got so bad that the area manager had to come in as acting general manager and brought a manager from another store with him. These two are the main characters of the story. Well, besides me, obviously. For the main purpose of the story, we'll call them Jeff and Kate, and I'll just be me. Jeff was 45 and had been with the company for a long time before I started. Worked himself up from the position of driver all the way to being the one to oversee about 20 stores. He was actually married to another area manager. I got along okay with Jeff for the most part. On the other hand, Kate and I got on like a house in fire, both being ladies of a similar age. She often confided things in me that she would soon bite her in the ass, figuratively. I considered myself a decent employee as far as pizza slingers go, came to work on time, did all of the dishes, got along with everyone, and had the best delivery times. Because of this, I usually landed all the best shifts, including opening on Saturdays. If you've never worked a tip job, you know that shift is the most coveted out there. Working through both the lunch and dinner rush before going home is well worth having to get up early. That information is relevant to the story, trust me. You see, there are always two drivers who do that shift. One who comes in early and leaves early, and I was the one who got to come in just before we flipped on the open sign and went home once dinner rush began to die down. This is also relevant. The final vital bit of info you need for context is that my brother goes a bit wild at Christmas. His favorite thing to do is book an entire movie theater for everyone he knows to see a movie of his choice. This particular year was when The Last Jedi came out, and he is a Star Wars fanatic, so that was what we were going to see. Unfortunately, it would be at 6 on a Saturday, so at least 2 hours before I would get off. At this point, Jeff and Kate had been with us for 3 months without messaging to find suitable replacements, and I made an arrangement with the other opening driver to switch shifts because his ended right when I would need to leave to make the movie. I then cleared it with Jeff, and he agreed to let me go at 5:30. I was all set, or so I thought. You see, that Saturday we started busy. Very busy. So busy that at 5:30 when I went to hand Jeff my slips, he had already dispatched me out on a double delivery. I took them, but reminded him that I needed to leave when I got back. I just hoped the trailers were long enough that I didn't miss much of the beginning of the movie. I got back from my double, and by that point it was already 6 and the theater was 20 minutes away. I had to leave. Once again, I went to hand my slips to Jeff, but he got in my face. "You leave when I say you can leave." "You're not gonna let me?" I asked, incredulous that he was reneging on our deal. "I came in early. I did my time, damn it." He looked very smug. "No." Well, I made a decision right then and there. There are so many pizza jobs out there that they needed me more than I needed them. I took my slip book, you know, the kind you see in the restaurants. I found they're great for delivery because not only can you store all of your slips in them, but they're hard enough for customers to bear down on to sign. Anyway, I slapped that in his hand and said, "Fine then." I quit. It was his turn to look incredulous. After making sure I meant it, he checked me out and I left the store fuming. I missed the entire opening of my movie. But the story doesn't end there. Oh no, you remember how I said Kate would confide in me? She loved to tell me all about how often she and Jeff would meet at a hotel after work. She even horrified me by telling me Jeff would turn off the camera so they could have sex in the back office when the store was empty, in a chair I had sat in multiple times. Kate was so obliging to give insignificant details like the date and time this happened, so I put in an anonymous call to the franchise's HR and told them what to look for when it came to checking the tapes. I told them everything Kate had told me, but I still wasn't content with leaving leaving it there. So I went to my local pizza place that just happened to be in Jeff's wife's area. Remember when I said she was also an area manager? And I got to gossiping with the workers there while they made my pizza. I was well aware it would make it back to her. Food employees can't keep such juicy gossip to themselves. Jeff got demoted to store manager, then transferred to the same store in his wife's area I went to so she could keep an eye on him. I guess it didn't work out because last I heard, Jeff's wife divorced him and he no longer worked for that franchise. And none of that would have happened if he had just let me leave on time. Or, just don't cheat. Edit. This got way more attention than I was expecting. Thank you so much to everyone who has awarded it. That being said, there are a few details I left out because I thought they would bog down the post. I'll add them here. 1. Jeff had let the other morning driver, the one whose shift I took, go before me, despite claiming we were too busy for me to go too. 2. I said Jeff and I got along okay, and that was not entirely the truth. Before he started seeing Kate, Jeff had hit on me pretty relentlessly. I turned him down, of course. I am of the firm belief that you should not dip your pen in company ink, and he did not handle the rejection well. He would often do petty things to get back at me, but it wasn't until this situation that it really got on my nerves. He was the kind of person who acted friendly to your face and did crappy things behind your back, exemplified best by cheating on his wife. 3. His wife had been out of town for a few months, training area managers out of state, which is probably why he got away with the affair for even that long. 4. He would have been caught eventually anyway. His and Kate's relationship was pretty open in our store because neither of them seemed to grasp the concept of discretion. I just happened to be the one who blew the whistle. You and Kate? 5. Finally, 5. Jeff had a grudge against my brother because he had sued the same company for having to work unpaid overtime. This was his attempt at screwing us both over at once. Wow. This was pretty swift, but pro-revenge. Good job, OP. Yeah, don't let the cheaters get away with it. This story's called Make Me Look Bad on the Job? Well, we'll see about that. I worked at a clothing store in a mall for a year and a half. It was not fun, but I was thinking back to my time there recently, and I forgot this golden gem of pro-revenge. So a new girl had just been hired, as many new people did in that job, and right away, you could tell she thought she was hot crap. We're talking acting like a manager, talking how many hours she had, and worst of all, she wouldn't shut up about all the dudes she was banging and how the money she got from them was the most important part. To put it lightly, she was a cold-hearted bimbo who made everyone feel bad about their insignificant lives, as she put. Here's where things go down. In our store, the racks were milled steel bars and hooks, so really hard to break and really expensive. They could, however, be bent out of shape if enough heavy coats stay on them for long periods of time. Ms. Hot Crap here thought it would be a good idea to impress the management by putting all the coats on the same rack using the milled steel bars instead of a circular wrap that wouldn't warp. I protested, of course, as I'd been there longer, but she said, "I get paid more than you, so you do what I say." She got hired as a key holder for our gate, so she made $1 more than I did per hour. I go along with it, put the heavy winter coats up on the milled steel, and go about my life. Well, 2 weeks later, the milled steel is of course warped, and when management saw this, they flipped. Cheapo store, any cost was bad to them. Anyway, she blames it on me, and I get written up for it. Now, I refused to sign, so they gave me less hours, which also cut my pay. Because she lied, I was now making 50% less than before and had a formal written complaint against me. To say I was ticked off wouldn't even start. So I devised a plan to get back at her. You see, the drywall at the center pillars had sustained water damage for an early melt earlier that year, making them extremely soft. However, they provide some of the largest coverage of shelf space in the entire store, meaning basically a good 20% of shelf space couldn't be used. Now, the kicker is, Miss Hot Crap didn't know about this, as she came in a week after it had happened, and to the naked eye, you wouldn't think the pillar couldn't be used as there was banners on it to try and hide the yellowing. I may have suggested what a waste not being able to have product on the pillars was, and how if someone could have come up with a nice display, it would bring in a lot of customers due to how people could see it from the mall main floor. We were just off the food court. Her eyes lit up. Now, here's the thing. I was taking a small break to a nice snowy lake cabin the the next day, and the people she had working with her were the manager or the temps who were not allowed to handle marketing and logistics, i.e. putting up shelves and racks up on the wall due to their cost and the incident that got me written up. Now, I knew she wouldn't want the managers to see it because she wanted all the glory from it. She wanted to show to our 3 stores in the mall that her store was the best while the managers weren't around. So she, being with a temp and them not being able to put up shelving, put the heavy winter clothing on the milled steel racks attached to the soft drywall pillars. Within a week, the drywall on the pillars collapsed and ruined $500 worth of product. Now she tried to shift the blame on me, but I was far away for the whole week, so it could not have been me because obviously that can't happen if I'm in the forest hundreds of miles from civilization. So no dice there, and she promptly got charged with the repair, demoted to sales associate, and got written up for what they finally realized was not just this, but the one they wanted me to sign. The repair was $2,500 plus the $500 stock that got destroyed when 40 pounds of drywall came crashing down on it. But I wasn't done yet. You see, our manager in our store specifically was pretty chill, and she's still a personal friend to me. She had a group chat so we could talk off hours and keep up to date. Now, as I mentioned, she wouldn't shut up about all the men she was playing and how the only thing that mattered was the money. And boy, oh boy, did she use the group chat to say a lot of this. Sometimes one of these dudes would come around and take her for lunch. Let's just say when she was in the back for a little while finishing something up, that I let them see the text channel if they promised not to let her know I told them. So often they'd go on their lunch date, and after 1 or 2 days, she'd be down a man. Finally, this boiled over when one of them took her phone, saw how many guys she had been banging for money, and messaged all of them about how much of a lying cheat she was. After 2 months, her fountain of man money dried up, and now demoted to a sales associate, she didn't have the money to spend on all her lavish nights out or designer clothing. She eventually moved up to another store for more hours and stole money from the till, causing her to get fired. A fitting end to a backstabbing ice queen, I think. I eventually left that job after half a year later to pursue my current job. Edit. To clear things up, to those saying that charging an employee for repairs is illegal, 100%. However, she decided to instead take a pay cut until it was paid back and keep her job rather than be fired. Minimum wage here is $15 an hour, so she took the cut down to approximately $12 an hour to pay it back. Also, this company is super sketch and will do anything not to pay for their mistakes, even going so far as to leave a hole in the roof, water damage, there for 10 months before fixing it, making it so during spring nothing could be put there. Okay, well, that's definitely not very nice of her to have been doing to all of those poor dudes. Well, seems she got what was coming to her in the end, so that's good. Alright, this story's called Dog Does Petty Revenge. So, having a busy schedule trying to get everything done while keeping the entire family happy has resulted in me and my wife not getting to the sexy part of our marriage. We both agreed that Sunday mornings early will be our special time, when daughter is still asleep and none of us had to get ready for work or whatever. We can just relax and have a good time with each other. The thing is, we have 2 dogs who also sleep on the bed or in the room, and on Sundays, they need to get out so that we can do our thing. Nothing is more creepy than your dogs watching you do the crazy monkey dance. They really don't want to go out of the room, and when I make them, they leave tail between the legs. Me and wifey had a good few Sundays, but lately we've been interrupted by my daughter waking up and coming to our room. The door is closed and we can hear her coming from her room, so there's just enough time to cover up. She always sleeps late, but for the past 3 Sundays, she's been in our room just past 6 o'clock, right in the heat of our sexy time. I could not understand what was happening until this past Sunday, when I finally asked her why she always sleeps so late, but on Sundays, she is awake early in the morning. She had this angry look on her face and said that one of our dogs always comes and wakes her up on Sunday mornings by jumping on the bed, licking her in the face, and lying all over her, wagging his tail like crazy. He was trying to wake her up. So this silly doggy of ours goes to her room as soon as we put him out to go wake her. He knows that as soon as she is awake, he can get back in the room. That freaking dog! That's incredibly adorable. That poor couple. Keep trying. I'm sure it'll happen eventually. You had to have a kid somehow. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.